welcome back to our channel. Nicole sat at the edge of the courthouse bench, her hands clenched together as though trying to hold the remnants of her life from scattering into dust. Weeks earlier, she had uncovered the truth about Ted and Leslie. The affair had not been a whisper in the shadows, but a brazen flame carried into their shared spaces. Each late-night phone call, each excuse, had finally aligned into a brutal revelation. Betrayal burned in Nicole's chest like acid, but she had chosen not to scream, not to strike, not even to crumble. Instead, she had prepared her weapon in silence, a secret long buried beneath layers of carefully woven appearances. When the divorce trial began, Nicole carried herself with dignity, but behind her composed eyes, a storm brewed. Ted walked into the courtroom with the arrogance of a man convinced he would control the narrative. Leslie lingered nearby, her presence sharp as broken glass. Both were ready to paint Nicole as bitter, unstable, too fragile to keep her marriage intact. They expected tears, not fire. What they did not know was that Nicole's silence had been preparation, not surrender. The court hushed when Nicole rose to present her testimony. With steady breaths, she dismantled Ted's image piece by piece. And then, like a scalpel cutting through skin, she revealed the truth: Kat was not Ted's daughter. The paternity test, hidden for years, lay before the court like a blood-stained dagger. Nicole's voice did not shake, and yet the air in the room fractured. Ted's face drained of color, Kat's body tense like a bow pulled to breaking, and Leslie froze as though impaled by the words. The revelation detonated through their lives. Ted's fury was instant, but it was hollow, and anger birthed from humiliation rather than heartbreak. For Kat, it was devastation. Her identity, once secure, now teetered on the edge of an abyss. She had believed herself anchored in Ted's love, despite his flaws, despite his infidelity. To hear that the man she had called father was bound to her by lies, not blood, was to feel the earth pulled out from under her feet. From that moment, the Dupree household became a theater of war. Ted retreated into silence, then into whiskey, then into blind outbursts. Leslie pressed closer, whispering promises, but Ted no longer found solace in her presence. Instead, he saw in her the reflection of his own ruin. Nicole, though outwardly calm, seethed with the satisfaction of vengeance. She told herself it was justice, yet at night she could not escape the echo of Kat's tears. The young woman had been collateral damage in a battle that was never hers to fight. Kat spiraled. Once strong and poised, she now wandered aimlessly through the vast, suffocating estate. Friends noticed her withdrawal, but she refused their pity. She sought distraction in reckless choices. Long nights, fleeting company, and dangerous secrets. One evening, she crashed her car against the iron gates of the family's mansion, uninjured but trembling, as though some invisible force had guided her toward destruction. She could no longer recognize herself, nor trust anyone around her. The man who truly was her father entered the picture like a phantom. Nicole had hidden his identity for decades, fearing that his presence would unravel the fragile order she had built. His name was whispered now, carried by lawyers and investigators, until Kat herself discovered fragments of the story. She sought him out, desperate for answers. When she found him, a man weathered by time and regret, she felt both fury and relief. He confessed to loving her from afar, forced into silence by circumstances Nicole had crafted. Kat saw not salvation, but another betrayal, her entire life a tapestry of half-truths woven by adults too cowardly to confront reality. Ted grew more volatile as the days passed. Business associates distanced themselves, whispers of scandal eroding his reputation. Leslie tried to maneuver the chaos, positioning herself as his ally, yet her motives were transparent. She craved legitimacy, to replace Nicole not just in Ted's bed but in the public eye. But with Kat rejecting her, and Ted drowning in self-destruction, her ambitions slipped through her fingers. In private moments, her mask cracked, and she raged at Nicole, at Kat, at the very life she believed should have been hers. Nicole found herself increasingly isolated. The vengeance that had once fueled her now corroded her spirit. Friends applauded her strength in court, yet behind closed doors she felt the weight of what she had unleashed. Kat avoided her, Ted despised her, Leslie plotted against her, and the man from her past stirred memories she had buried. She began to wonder if the truth had been a gift or a curse. The community, ever hungry for scandal, fed on their downfall. Neighbors speculated in whispers, tabloids circled like vultures, and even allies questioned their loyalties. Invitations to galas and fundraisers dried up. Once admired, the family was now viewed as a tragic spectacle, each member unraveling in public view. The Dupree name, once synonymous with wealth and prestige, became shorthand for betrayal and collapse. The tension escalated when financial irregularities emerged in Ted's company. Investigators probed deeper, uncovering embezzlement tied to desperate attempts to cover his spiraling losses. Leslie, sensing the walls closing in, began secretly gathering evidence to protect herself. She imagined a future where Ted would be ruined, and she could rise from the ashes unscathed. But her scheming was reckless, and soon she found herself blackmailed by a former associate who knew too much. Kat, broken and searching for escape, became entangled with dangerous companions. She was lured into a world of drugs and deceit, a mirror of the chaos in her home. One night, she vanished. Nicole awoke to find Kat's room empty, her belongings scattered as if she had fled in haste. Panic tore through Nicole's chest. The vengeance that had once seemed righteous now revealed itself as poison, and she realized too late that her daughter's suffering was the cost. Days later, Kat was found in a motel on the outskirts of the city, fragile and exhausted. She refused to return home. She blamed Nicole for the lies, Ted for his failures, and herself for believing in the illusion of family. She spoke little, but her eyes carried the weight of 1,000 storms. Nicole begged for forgiveness, yet forgiveness remained distant, a horizon forever out of reach. The courtroom secret had set fire to all their lives. Ted faced indictment. Leslie's machinations threatened to consume her. Nicole wrestled with the wreckage of her own choices. And Kat, standing at the crossroads of youth and despair, carried scars that would never fade. The Dupree family, once polished and untouchable, had been shattered beyond recognition. Their gates no longer protected them, they had become a prison, trapping them in the ruins of their own making. And yet, in the ashes, something lingered, a question of whether redemption was possible, or if their story was destined to end in ruin. Nicole, staring at the fractured reflections in her mirror, wondered if truth had set them free or simply chained them to a different kind of lie. Please register and ring the bell to follow our channel to stay updated on the exciting and dramatic developments of the ongoing movie.